Okay, cool. And we are live. Let's see. You guys, we are here with you, and I'm going live on the collaboration group right now. So we'll be saying hi to them in a minute. And then we're going live in the challenge group. All right, guys. Well, I am excited about this today because I feel like this is kind of like a long time coming. Because you're kind of like the inception like, or the like one of, there's like a few moments that I know were like the igniters of do the thing. My friend Sandy, who's my book strategist, a friend Deb, and then there's like you, where we met before I even started the podcast. And then I don't know, it's kind of like I always say, like love at first sight, where it's like where we just became friends. And then when I started the podcast, you started like introducing me to people, and that's what got me into momentum to even like want to do what I was doing. And so it's just cool to have you here now, celebrating you starting your own community, which is like really cool.
It turns around, what comes around goes around, I guess.
Yeah, right. It's true. And so for those of you that don't know Sue is so it's like, I mean, I could say the founder or the face behind Entrepreneurs Gone Wild, and also Idlewild Woods, which is the new retreat center that she's in the middle of creating and now co-creating with this amazing community, and just, yeah, feel free to just kind of like say hi and share. And Alan's here and Sarah's here and Neil's here. Oh, we've got all the people happening here. That's so good.
Well, hello from the creek. This is Otter Beach. Named for the otter that may show up over there. If she does, I'm running away like a screaming little girl.
Oh gosh.
I lived here first, so I try to defer, but it's hot out, and I'm like, this is lovely, sitting with the feet in the creek.
I love that about you because, it's like, and I think that's why you're doing what you're doing, because entrepreneurs as a whole, like this is like my experience a lot of times, right? Where I'm like sitting in my kitchen, like on my computer. I did do a mastermind yesterday where I sat outside, and that was really nice, but it's like, you like remind me of that. And if I don't see it, I could get consumed by it and then never leave. Right.
Oh, I get you. I mean, I always joke. It's not a joke, but I always say that for about 20 years outdoors, that was where the car lived.
Yeah.
Go outside to get in the car and go somewhere. And I didn't want to be outside. It was like, it's buggy, it's hot, it's boring.
Yeah.
Everything is outside.
So good. And yeah, Sarah said you're setting the example for all of us. Our office can be anywhere we choose. So well said, Sarah. So true, right? Yeah.
It's true. As
so
long
true.
as you can probably do what you got to do,
Yeah. Yeah. So let's just, for people that don't know you, share, I gave a brief thing, but just share like who you are, what you're doing, and what you're excited about right now.
Sure. So I'm Sue Anderson. I'm the founder of Triumph Communications, which is a writing firm. We've done premium ghostwriting for clients since 2005. So we're coming up on 20 years doing this. Most of those 20 years, like I said, I didn't go outside. I was like, maybe outdoors would be fun sometime. Or, if I finished everything, then I'd go out. When do you ever finish everything? So it just wasn't a part of my life. I read a book about 2-3 years ago called 3 Simple Steps by Trevor Blake. This guy has built multiple 9-figure businesses in his like 50s and 60s. And he says that he spends like 4 hours a day working, and most of that is out walking his dogs. I was like, I don't know about that, but it was a signed reading. So I read it. And he challenged, he's like, this is where you're going to get your best ideas. So spend some time outdoors every day. I'm like, all right, fine. I don't want to, but I will. So started doing it, and it caught, like, all of a sudden I'm like, I kind of like it out here. There's like cool things I can do. I can deadhead roses. I can turn those roses into a jelly. I could, it got weird. So a couple of years back, I had also done an exercise called the Perfect Average Day.
Mm-hmm.
I assigned it. So I'm like, all right, Stan. Some of you guys know Stan. And so I did this, and it just kind of percolated. I was like, yeah, that's nice, fun. And I was taking this long car drive, and all of a sudden it hit me. You should build a retreat center for entrepreneurs and get them outdoors. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. But I took this idea home. Hey, honey, you want to do what? You've done this before? No.
It's so good. It's reminding me of we have a podcast episode where she goes through the whole story, and it's so powerful because you have this like download, right? And you're like writing in your car and it's like on the paper. And I don't think I knew that Stan was the one that inspired it. And it just shows how fast, when the right prompt or the right thing in the right moment with someone that you like either trust or you want to like do, it can like open up a whole world for you, you know?
It really did. And the more I started talking to people about it, entrepreneurs were like, please build it. Like, we need this. Like,
well, I heard it. Yeah. Like, so we had already met, and then so we were already friends. You were, I think, I don't remember the order now, but like, yeah, I even had you help me with the writing stuff for my podcast and some different things, which has been great with the Triumph company. And then I heard you on Ryan's podcast, Ryan Moran, for those of you that don't know. And he talked to you about this idea, you know, and that's when I listened to it. And then I invested right away because I was like, I want to be part of this thing you have going, you know? And so anyway, it's like, I mean, it's just like, it's so easy to get consumed, right, by the stuff that we're doing. And I feel like you're like a living visual representation of someone that wasn't doing it before, but now is doing it. And the smile on your face is like the proof, right, of like what, and it's like the aura are also around you of like living
like a heat stroke. I don't know.
Oh my God. It's so good. It's so good. Well, I'm excited. And then Entrepreneur was Gone Wild then. Like, so then you got the property, and then Entrepreneur was Gone Wild. That's been like a whole nother kind of like living thing on its own, which is just like this really cool, you know, just thing that's being co-created right now, right?
Yeah, totally. So, we had the property. We were able to buy it in February of 2022, I think it was, or 2021. I'm losing track of the years at this point. And then it was like, oh, wow. All right, well, it's going to be, I was living a normal life, living in a house, like stuff. We had to wrap a lot of stuff up. It was like, and I started thinking, I want to serve these people immediately. Like, I don't want to wait until I'm up there. It's going to take a while to build stuff. I need to do this now. So I thought, I could make a newsletter and interview people, entrepreneurs, and hear their story and what they're working on now. And also like how they do time outside to do their best thinking.
Yes.
So that'd be fun. Could not believe the domain was available. Entrepreneurs Gone Wild.
I remember when you sent it to me, I was like, what in the world? How is that even possible? And like, anytime you say the name to anyone, they always are like, oh man, that is like brilliant. Exactly. You know? Yeah.
And you're going to flash, but that's okay.
That's true. It's so funny. Yeah, no, I love what you just said. I want to serve the people immediately, because like, there's some people when they're creating a product or building a program or whatever idea they have, it like lives in this vacuum, you know, until the thing is out there and you realize you didn't want to do that, you know, and by wanting the feedback, that's when you started the newsletter, the podcast, and now the community. enter in Stacey.
Funny, I was just thinking about this today. When we first met, you weren't even on social media, and now I'm like, look at dog, she's got up like 20,000 people following her. This is amazing.
Yeah, I even have an episode which it's so funny. One of my community members, Terry, watched it because it's from like, I don't remember what number, but Dr. Nancy DeAndrade, she my holistic coach, we did a private session. It was a coaching session, but I put it on the podcast because it was so powerful, and it was on whether or not I should even go on social media. I had already had the Facebook group, the private one, but I was trying to decide if I should expand, and I wasn't ready yet. I still didn't, what came out of it was no, don't, you know, like you're not ready yet. And so it's true though, right? It's like once you kind of like get out of your way, you finally feel more convicted in what you're doing, you know, and the mission that you're here to do, right? And you know it from that car moment, right? After that exercise, and you got this download that you're then pouring into those sheets of paper that then's brought to life. And then as you talk to more people and you're getting the people around it, it like kind of carried on in a momentum of its own, you know?
Oh, definitely. It takes a life of its own. What I'm loving too is like, so, having a community, like before, like most marketers think of like, well, I need people to follow me so I can tell them here's the thing that I'm selling or whatever. And that's one benefit of having a following and a community and all that.
Hmm.
But it's a whole different thing and a way better thing to be able to go, this is how I can serve people now. And we're collaborating on this. I don't want to just build what I think is going to be awesome. I want to build what people say they want, like, and we get into this, it'll be like, hey, what do you think, like interior, exterior structures. And what about, how about the interior and what kinds of facilities do you want? And what kind of wow factor things do you want? Do you want a wood fired hot tub? Do you want hammocks? What do all
Yeah.
these things I would be guessing otherwise, and they're expensive guesses. You want to make sure building what people actually truly want and not just what you're imagining.
So good. Yeah. And so just so you guys know, so Sue's part of the Audience Accelerator program and decided she was ready to, well, you had already started your group, I think, before we met, but it wasn't,
It's dead.
I was trying to think of the nice way to say it. It wasn't going yet.
Not even we're alive in there.
Yeah. And and then so she's been going through this process of, kind of like tapping into like what you're doing, what you want, right? Like through all the dares, and you even did find your voice, right? Which I think gave you another level. Let's start there because I feel like we're missing that important piece. What you were saying with me saying I wasn't on social media, it's because I wasn't comfortable being like seen. And I feel like we shared some of that stuff where Find Your Voice did something there. Maybe we should start there because I think people see you now and they're like, of course, Sue is, doing this. She can do all these things. They don't realize it takes this like process, right?
It totally does. It totally. So the whole reason I became a writer was because I didn't have to see people. I didn't want to be making sales calls. I didn't want to be like public. I just was like, I could just write in the dark room and I was here, I
Yeah.
didn't even put my name on people's books. It was just, it was very, very quiet.
Yeah.
But I've done a lot of personal development stuff, and really, in a nutshell, it's like the best thing that you can do in life is become comfortable in yourself and let your light shine, so that other people who need what you're learning, what you're doing, all that, they can't find you if you're like hiding in the dark. It doesn't work. So being in I think it was the Find Your Voice challenge. So that was basically, it ended up being like, hey, we're gonna, find it. And then that led into the start a podcast challenge. And I'm like, all right.
I'm doing that too. What was cool though is because you were doing the glamping one because those are different, right? You have two podcasts now. And so since you learned the skill to start a podcast, you then like were like, oh, I'm just going to do this other one. Like the thing that was impossible and hard then suddenly became like easy, right? Because you already did it.
Yes. Yeah, it was like, oh, well, of course I'm doing a podcast. Now the thing is, oh, I got this idea for another podcast. Like, stop.
Yeah.
But it made it easy to do it, because it was like, I just figured that the tech stuff was going to be awful. I mean, I can do some tech stuff, but not, I'm not a coder or anything. And it was like, oh, well, this is actually really easy. Oh, here's a platform for it. Oh, here's how you do this. Here's how, I was like, oh, why wouldn't I do it?
Right. So do you think, because I'm really strongly convicted in the fact that like the private group community is how for people that haven't found their voice, maybe depending on where you're at in your journey, like if you're trying on Instagram, you're trying all these things, but you're still like a show, right? Like maybe, or you're not, you're either like me, how I was, where you weren't out there at all, not wanting to anyone to see you, or you're still kind of like showing like the superficial version of you with like your mask on. Like, do you think that private community, because I think you even did all the dares and Find Your Voice. I remember you like finishing. I'm like, dang, Sue's like, good. And it's like that, like helped you kind of like get that comfort level of doing it.
It really did. Cause I mean, if you ask anybody, oh, how do you like hearing yourself, your recorded voice? They're like, well, it's awful. Can't stand it. I'm like, you can't stand the sound of it, all that kind of stuff. Seeing yourself on video. I mean, that's hard for a lot of people. I mean, you know, I'm not if you're a beauty queen, maybe. Then it's like, oh man, well, I looked funny. My hair was weird. I didn't have the right clothes. There's a million things that can stand in the way. And it's like, how sad, because I'll tell you, every time I've been on a podcast, and feedback I've gotten from mine is like, you're just so natural. Like, I just felt like I was hearing from a friend, all this kind of stuff. I'm sitting here like, okay, yes, I did wash my hair last night with a watering can. It's too hot for makeup. I don't have any clean clothes, but they're, whatever. I'm just sitting here being me, and it's not slick and it's not, but that's the perfect thing, that's like, if somebody if they're ever going to come to the Idlewild Woods Retreat Center, and if they're expecting to meet some very polished and like glamorous person, they're going to be very disappointed. So, well, be me from the,
yeah.
And it just other people permission to be themselves too. And I think we need more of that.
Oh, so good. You're making me realize, I don't think I've noticed this part of the reason why this stuff works so well is because like, it's being able to like show up without the like with Find Your Voice or whatever program you're in of Do the Thing, right? I'm like, stop your show. Yeah. Like, take off your makeup, go outside, like, even if it means don't even like having your video on, whatever is going to get the voice, like the voice out of the head, right? That's what we're wanting. And then showing up as yourself. And that's where the audience attractor thing works, right? Because you're releasing all those perceptions of who we think we need to be, what we think we need to show up as, and you're giving that permission to be yourself,
Yeah. Well, and I think I have you to thank, because you came on one video and you had shower cap on. I'm like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah, I still haven't put that on. I don't think it's on YouTube yet. It's still only private, but that's the beauty of a private group, and also you having a private community. It's like you start out like, so now that we're talking, now we have audience incubator is kind of the new branded name I'm using, and who knows, it might change by the time I launch it. But it's basically like you're coming in like the Do the Thing private group, right? So you're like finding your voice. And Jana said it the other day where she's like, she feels like now she's stretching it, which I really loved that. Like, so Find Your Voice was like her finding it. Now in incubator, she's stretching it, or accelerator, whatever we're calling the name. Let's just pretend there's no name, which is the thing I always tell people. You don't have to have a name for something in order to do it, right? Like, because I could be stuck in this name, but I'm just continuing on. But anyway, point being is then you're stretching it. But then when you get to do it in your own private community, it doesn't have to be out in the world yet. You could still do it. And like I said, that shower cap video, I don't think it lives anywhere else other than that private group right now, because I'm not ready for the world to see me in a shower cap, right? At some point, I will be fine with that. But that's the point, is it doesn't matter when you have those people you've curated to be in there. And if someone doesn't like it, then that's fine. You're not my person anyway.
Exactly. But those who do, they're like, I love her shower cap, and I love her. This is like it's real, there's so much in this online, technology is fantastic. I would never have met you, it's like there's people all over the world that you can be friends with, like legit friends. But it's also got this other side where everything is very perfect. And I don't know who's perfect. Like, maybe you, I don't know, right? But it's like, it's our opportunity to be genuinely ourselves. And I huge, because going to be the people, like if somebody's coming expecting this perfect thing, I guarantee they're going to be like, well, there was a bird, tweeting outside my window and it was loud, or I heard an airplane go by. I mean, it's just they're expecting perfection instead of real, which is actually attainable, and beautiful and wonderful. And in the same thing, if we can just be ourselves online, in our marketing, in everything, if we just show up as ourselves, we don't have to we can do the thing really quickly, So, and I think like so much of your community, it's like you have dares that happen, and it's like, all right, I'm just going to go do it now. It's like, if you had to prepare and get your hair perfect and get the right set and get everything, it would never happen. It's just one more way that we can procrastinate. And I feel like if we're on an important mission, there's a sense of urgency. we don't have time to like, oh, wait, no, I have to look perfect before I do this. I'm like, we're kind of irrelevant. We're the core of it, but we're also irrelevant in a way. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's so true. And it's so exhausting when you don't like trust yourself, right? Because then you're like you're having to ask people what they think and what whatever that is, right? But when you're able to just kind of like tap into who you are, what you want, then it's like effortless, right?
totally, totally. It's a
Sarah,
huge
Sarah's here. Do it now, community
now.
representing. So good. I wanted to just say a couple of things are coming in. Hey, Allison, good to see you. And Nicole is here. She said, before I went back to my 9 to 5, I was called to spend my last week of freedom outside. I painted the eaves of my house and redid the mulch in my backyard. That's so good. I love that. And Neil said amazing. Neil said amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to your launch party. So one of the things we get to do with the accelerator, incubator, whatever the name is, with the newest Do the Thing program is we get a launch party. So we're like kind of like nurturing. We're creating this like space where the group is going to come alive, right, and get connected together. And your community was like, I could almost cry, like, because I was there, and like how it felt to be in the space with all the other people doing it. I think I want to ask a question before we talk about it. Had you done a live before where people were there commenting? Was that your first time?
No.
So that's not normal for you to just like show up and like people are like, you're like interacting with people.
No.
Seeing it would think that you had, I didn't think you had, but I didn't get a chance to ask you. Seeing you do it, it seemed like you had done it before, which was really interesting. How did you think you were able to do that?
I figured it would kind of be like a group podcast. So I kind of went in with that mentality. Now, I have some little extra challenges because we are off grid.
Yeah.
So got to make sure that the solar charger has gotten the phone ready and I'm able to get on, and no way I can use a computer and the phone and all,
Yeah.
It's not my normal setup. So that was my biggest worry, was that, well, first of all, what if nobody shows up? Second, all right, well, what if I mess up the tech and I can't do it?
Right.
And it seemed to work out. It was great. Everybody who was there was interaction. I was able to give away a free stay at Ottawa Woods Retreat Center. Like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, and it's just really, really fun. And it felt kind of like a sitting around the campfire.
Yeah, I think it was your launch party that was when I got like the first, I didn't have the name yet, but I got the precipice. Is that a word? I don't know. But I got the idea of like, not the word incubator, but like, it was like incubator, right? Because I'm like seeing the questions you're asking and people are like answering. We're like, oh, what do you think about this? And what do you guys think about this? And we're all like commenting and excited. And we're like drawn into your mission, right? Which is getting people outside and giving them a visual of you creating the space for them when it's around, when it's alive, and they're now co-creating in that space. And I just loved how you were able to like bring the people together to really honor like what they want, and what they're looking for.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Because we all have great ideas about, oh, well, I should do that. This should be my offer, but we never, until you're actually talking to people. It's like that quote about every battle plan's first casualty is like the first battle, like it doesn't, and better to find this out like now. What if I'd gotten on there and people were like, we will never ever come there, there's bugs, there's snakes someplace, that I guarantee there's a bear somewhere in the near area, if I'm terrified or disgusted or just like, oh, not interested in the idea, that would be really good to know. And it's that feedback, that rather than creating in a vacuum, which is what is very easy to do. And I've created tons of products before, info products, how to, whatever, courses, but I didn't ask anybody on the first place. So it's like you could sink hundreds, thousands of hours into something and a lot of money into it, and then find out nobody wants this thing that I created. that's messed up, to say the least. Like, you don't want to do that. It's crushing. You want to make sure that what you're building is going to be what people actually want. The person you want to serve, you want to make what they want.
Yeah, and I love that you say that, because and then you're making what they want, but because you're co-creating, they're like a part of it, right? So there's some kind of level of just like everyone wants to be a part of something. Anastasia, so I'll talk about her for a minute. It's a kind of a weird connection because it's like not related, but it's so related in my head right now. Maybe she just messaged me the other day, but for those of you that don't know, Anastasia was we have a couple podcast episodes if you guys want to go back and listen to, but she was like in the war in Ukraine, and like literally like I talked to her 3 weeks after she like escaped, and then she ended up helping like 130 women get jobs and find shelter pretty much. And at the time, like I didn't know how to help, like anyone there, and by getting connected with her, and then being able to then feel a part of like, just by me having her on my podcast, having her in my community, and then being able to like donate, she gave us an opportunity to not even donate. She like had these like webinars that were amazing, and I would have paid them on their own, and that was then that money was like basically being put towards that, right? And then I was able to share it, and that's what I heard from people that like didn't know how to even do it. They're like, I didn't even know how to like do it. Anyway, the point is like feeling a part of something is what it felt me connected, right? And I think that's what we're able to do with our communities, and why it's so special is because you're able to bring someone into an experience of something that you have a strong vision for, and it just sounds good to someone else. But then because they're so excited about it, the momentum goes so much faster and it compounds exponentially, because they're part of it,
Oh yeah. I mean, it used to be too. The whole thing used to be build in secret, like don't tell anyone until you're launched. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't now I look back, I'm like, it's funny when we change, you can't remember how you used to think.
It's true. Yes.
But that was a big thing. Like, oh, you don't tell anybody until it's done, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so fine, that's one way you could go, but you're going to be doing this completely by yourself with no support whatsoever, no feedback at all until it's done.
Mm-hmm.
It does not make any sense to me at this point. Whereas, I mean, this project is way bigger than anything. Like, it's me and my hubby and my son. We pay my son to come out. It's like, this is not something we could just do on our own. We've got to have, that input, that support from a community, that promise of, yeah, we're totally coming there. Like,
yeah.
All of that kind of stuff, and their feedback on like, oh, well, we want this, we don't want that, that is huge. It changes everything about creation of something awesome.
Yeah. Well, and the interesting thing is like all the things that will come up, like even while you're waiting for them to be able to come there, it's like you could create products, you could create info products, you can create physical products, because you're like having the aliveness, of the group and them telling you what they want, having this like goal. Like for me, my original thing was I was doing research for my book. So my group was a way for me to get the research, and then all of this other stuff, came up, because of it. And the book hopefully will eventually get done. I've said it twice now, so I've got to at least put it on my calendar to like reopen it again. But so I said it in the call we did earlier. So I'm like, I have to listen to myself now, because I'm like, it's obviously like annoying me that I don't have it done yet. But the point is, it doesn't matter if I ever got it done, really, because I've done all this other stuff because of the book. And so my point is like, you just like, once you get the people around your mission and your goal, that's what brings everything to life, right? And then things that you didn't even expect. Oh, Julie, perfect example in our program, Hidden Gifts of Loss. When she joined, we didn't even know if she was going to have a group. She just joined to stay in the connection because she was in Find Your Voice. But what's come out of it now is she just submitted an essay for something, and like something that would have been like impossible before. Now she did it and just, completed. I'm like, maybe that's why you did that. Like we don't know what it is, but it's like, there's so much, and the podcast is coming from it too. But the point is, it's like the unexpected things that we don't even know are going to come. And it's the same thing's going to happen with your group, where they're going to like want something, need something, and then you'll be able to then see it and then do what feels good for you too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's given me ideas just watching like the way you've done stuff and the way that I've seen people in the groups do stuff. So it occurred to me, everybody talks about grounding, right? You take your shoes off, you stand in some grass, you get a little tick.
Mhm.
It's supposed to be really good for you. I don't like going barefoot. I was raised like my dad was in Vietnam. He saw kids with ringworm left and right. And we were taught like, and we had a dog. He was like, "Don't go barefoot. That's disgusting." Like it was drilled in my head. I don't go barefoot, but I'm like, I have done it. There's the electric charge, and I'm like, that's cool, but is it ringworm? Like, what's happening? And I'm like, all right, I would be up for having a challenge because I know. And so I pulled people.
Oh.
How do you feel about going barefoot? 0 to 10, like want to do it, don't want to do it. And I'm like, it's a thing. People either love it or hate it. And I'm like, that would be fun to do a little 5-day challenge of going barefoot.
Yeah, it would be really fun because there's that grounding effect when you're like with the tree, right? And you're able to or put your feet in in the grass, and that would be a really interesting. Oh yeah, oh like all the ideas are coming right now.
Because I'm not the grounding expert and all. I'm like, if I want to do this, should we try it? Let's try it. It's a challenge. Let's try, And
Yeah,
I feel so free to go, you know what? I don't like going barefoot. You're supposed to, and and that's fine. And so that's kind of cool. I can offer that type of stuff. But having had that feedback,
yeah.
I wouldn't have known otherwise. I would have thought I was the only one that was freaky.
Mhm.
And also, like I was able to go, huh? All right. Well, we're doing weird stuff. We're like doing excavation. We're doing all this weird stuff. I'm like, but people seem to like it when I go live and show them this stuff. Do you, hey folks, do you want to come here and learn how to do like you can
Yeah.
play actor? Do you want to learn how to build an off-grid shower and you want to do that? You have to like sleep in your car or a tent. You still want to do that? Like
Yeah. You
having
know
that,
what's
you know?
making me, yeah, you know what's making me think is especially when I think of an entrepreneur and why this is so good is like sometimes so many things take so long to get done. And like it could be like a year before we see a dream or goal that we had like accomplished, whether it's a product we're creating, a program, or whatever we're doing. But with what you're doing with the retreat center, and especially what you're saying right now, is you're giving people a way to see a result really fast, by being able to accomplish something at your property, right? And so that's like soothing that entrepreneur mind of like not winning, right? It's like an immediate win and you feel good about being able to do it. I didn't think about it in that way. I feel like that could be why it's so exciting to people, is not only from the nature aspect and being outside, but also just being able to accomplish something, and sometimes maybe something that you didn't even know you could do.
Totally. And so much of what we do as, knowledge workers and entrepreneurs at this point is so it's intangible. Like, oh, I have this book, like I
Mhm.
wrote 50,000 words for my book. Okay, point to it. It's like, oh, it lives in my computer. There's
Yeah.
nothing physical that we can see. I mean, my work as a writer, same thing. It's never, ever, ever, ever done, not even close to done.
Hmm.
And so it's like, I think humans are built to have something that we start, we do it, and there's an end. Maybe you have to do it again another time, but
Yeah,
something really tangible that we can point to and go, huh, I dug that hole. Like,
really. I love that. Oh, so
oh,
good, Sue.
and so I think that there's some
So
allure to
good.
it's very satisfying.
Yeah, satisfying. That's such a good word. Okay, I've got to answer a few things here. So, Allison wanted to know more about your business.
Um, the writing one or the
Oh yeah, let's do both. Just because, yeah, and especially,
right.
yeah, in case people are interested in,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
in both for sure. And then we're not done, you guys. So stay on because Sue had a big win also in the program where she did one of the dares and it created a huge like thing that happens. Don't leave.
So writing business for like 20 years. We've been writing content for mostly for marketing firms for their clients. So that's cool. With AI coming along, we're dead. So I'm like, well, that sucks. Like, what can we do that only a human can do? So currently, what we're doing is we're creating 5-day free educational email courses that people can send out to help grow their list. You're giving them something, your prospects something very valuable, like truly valuable, so that they
Mhm.
actually sign up. And then it does shorten the sales cycle for them. It helps people to take like maybe you have a big social media following, but nothing in email. This fixes that. So you now own your audience. So that's super cool.
That's so good. Yeah. So it's 5 days. So basically when someone joins their email list, they're getting an email sequence every for 5 days, basically leading them to something.
Exactly. So it could be like, so I interview the person, like, all right, well, what's the best thing? It's like, let's say it's a business consultant.
Yeah.
Helping people get on the Google 3-pack or whatever. Great. All right. Well, half the people out there, they know they got a problem. They know they're not getting free phone calls from Google all the time from being on that top spot. And so, we do a 5-day course about like, here's why you want to get into the 3-pack. Here's how it happens. Here's how your competitors got there. Here's the mistakes that most people make when they're trying to get in. This type of stuff.
Yeah.
So if you ever have a sales call, they're already sold. They know, oh, this is amazing. And this company gave me such value in this free course that I was in that, obviously they're the choice that I want to make. So it's
that's so good. I know we've been kind of talking about this through email. We have to talk more because I'm like, that'd be neat even for with the program, right? When people join their Facebook group, they're going on their email list, if they could do something with that. So yeah, we have to revisit that for sure.
Because all the things as far as like, or even like Mike Shetravko. So with his Instagram course, it's like off the top of my head, here's 5 things people do wrong with Instagram or think that they do, and you don't have to do any of those. And if you're trying to do those, they're going to screw you up. You're going to be so wrapped around the axle that you'll never take action. So those, now do the thing,
Yeah.
It's a great way to kind of knock out some objections before somebody gets in there.
I love that. So good. I know Sarah said as children, we were expressing our creativity when we were building or creating something with our hands, mud pies, forts, finger paintings, etc. It's a really good point. Like you're bringing back like the thing that we're designed, to do as kids, right? And you're bringing it back to people that are consumed by, I know like this mind right now, because I'm so like, if you would have asked me like 6 months ago, I don't think I would have been as dialed into like needing this, but like, because I got so consumed by what I was doing, I lost other areas of my life. So I think that's so huge that you're giving them a space, for that. Sorry. So you mentioned the writing business, and then let's finish Allison's question, the other part of it too.
Yeah. So the other part is the retreat center, which is going to be, so I'll tell you first because, so we decided so it's kind of weird. The county we're in put a moratorium on any glamp sites. So 6 months, no glamp sites. I'm like, son of a perfect timing. Dang it. Yeah. Rules. Okay, fine. So I was like, well, we'll just build a cottage first. Okay, fine. And it still is a possibility, but that's expensive, and it's not the thing that I really want. So it occurred to me, I could put a dome up here. Like, it's my property.
Yeah.
Home that's for friends and family. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, all right, so now we're going to be able to do it much faster. We just got to go pick the spot for it.
Wow.
Up in the hill, you've been there, you've walked.
Yeah.
And then we'll build a deck, we'll get the dome, voila, we can start hosting. I'm like,
I forgot to mention that. Just so you guys know, I went to this property and it like I don't even know, did I not even have words? It was so just like, you're just immediately, sometimes when you go somewhere, it takes you like a day to kind of like bring your anxiety or all that stuff that you've got, like the thoughts and all that. And it was just an immediate, just like opening of just expansion is what I felt when I went. And then it was like every little corner she takes you on is like a new kind of like surprise, and then it's like, and then you get the water and you're like, oh my gosh, what is happening? It was really exciting. Yeah.
Like elementary kids at recess when we were running around like, Stacey, come check this out.
I know. It's so cool. So good. Okay. So let's see. I don't know what is going on with my eyes. Hold on a second. Either my glasses are dirty or I cannot see anymore. I'm just going to hope that my glasses are dirty. So, Allison said creative dramatic play is key to developing the mind of children and language, communication. It's all creating worlds. This is really interesting. Really interesting, like this could be a fun, like in your group, a fun way. Well, we're going here. This wasn't the immediate bridge. So thanks, Allison. So now it's just bridging to this. It could be a fun way that you're bringing people into the community, like as experts, like of these things, like the grounding expert or the we did this as kids, like let's get back to this people, those could be fun until your retreat center is like going where you could bring them there in person, or you could just do both. But yeah, I'm thinking that would be a really fun way to just kind of like open people's minds up more, why it's so important to stay outside or to be outside.
Oh yeah, they could even be little challenges. Like Sarah just gave me the idea of like, mud pie challenge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember, because when my kids were doing mud pies, this came out during Alex's launch party, where I was like, she's doing, hers is Mom's Meadow. And I don't remember what was said. Maybe it was with Sarah, now I'm thinking about it, but something was said that I remembered my kids always doing these mud pies and it being really fun. And whenever I would do it with them, I kept saying, this is so satisfying, because you're taking this thing that's like dirt and mud, and then you're turning it in, and then it becomes this like hardened, like thing that looks like almost like it would just be a statue on its own, like, because it becomes that hard, and the satisfying word is the word that I use. So that is really, it's soothing for your mind because you're completing something,
Totally. Yeah. It's an amazing, it's something that it's easy to understand it in our heads, how important of something is, but our lives don't reflect it. It's like, everything is halfway, we're never done with our stuff, especially if you're doing anything online. It's never done, and it's not, there's nothing you can point at and go, look at that. You have to like, okay, come here, I'll show you online. Like there's nothing to carry with you and go, I made this.
Right. Yeah, no, so true. So, okay, let's talk about you've had a lot of wins, obviously being in the program and all that stuff, but let's talk about like the dare that you did and then what happened. I think it was the emailed dare. Yeah.
So looking for which dares, like Stacey will teach you millions of ways. Okay. A lot of really cool ways that you your group and grow your community like this. And I've been a little, again, being off grid, it's a little challenging. Get Wi-Fi, I'm like, I'm on. But I'm like, all right, I got to really pick what's going to work. So I've been on some people's lists since probably 2005. And I always hear from, and sometimes I'll write back, and get a little conversation going. So Peter Shankman, who was the founder of Harrow, Help a Reporter Out, has an email that comes out, and I've corresponded a few times. It's just, nice. I really like this, whatever. So he was announcing that he has a new thing. He had sold Harrow years ago. The people who bought it, and now he's making a new one. So I just wrote back. I'm like, that sounds fantastic. Hey, would you like to come in front of my group of entrepreneurs? Because I know he also spends time outside to do his best thinking. He also skydives, a little extreme. And he's like, yeah, I'd love to. And I when I sent it, I thought, oh, come on. He's world famous. This dude speaks on he has spoken on hundreds and hundreds of stages, speaks to groups of 20,000 people. I got 143 people in my group. I don't know. Maybe 10 will show up, but I was like, I'm going to try. What's he going to say? No, and you're horrible? No, he'll just say, can't do it. It's fine. I can survive this. I can survive the potential. It's a risk, and it's an okay risk. And he showed up. So he made his schedule to get on. We had a handful of people. It was a wonderful interview. It felt like hanging out with my brother or something. Like, it was amazing. And all because I would never have thought to do it, except you had the dare out of, hey, who do you email with? Who emails you? You could reply, you could talk. I'm like, wow, give it a shot, and it's amazing.
Yay, it's so good. So think about it from like the skill. This is really coming up right now. You have the skill to start a podcast, right? You have a skill to do a launch party where you're bringing people together in a gathering place and connecting them together, because we were all talking with each other too. And then you have the skill to like reach out to anyone that you want and they come into your community. Like, how cool is that?
And it's so personal. It's not like everything I think I had done before, again, with trying to hide or be invisible or whatever. It was like, my face was never on camera. I'd use stock photos, stock whatever. all this kind of thing. And it felt like a way to hide. If I were even when I first started inviting people to Entrepreneurs Gone Wild, I didn't know, like, I hadn't gone through your program, so I didn't know. So I was just hitting invite, and people did. They're very kind to them. But now it's like I want to have a conversation with them first. So I have the opportunity to actually meet people and chat with them and get to know them. Now it's much more meaningful to have them in the group and for them to be in the group.
So good. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's so true. And then now, like, where you can go with it is you could just like you did with the podcast, where you started a new podcast. Now, anytime you want to do a community gathering, anytime you want to reach out to an expert, like,
yeah,
here you go. Yeah. What would you say to someone that, again, I'm the new program, the updated one, whatever the name is going to be August 5th is the start date. And so I believe I'm going to be inviting people to it next Saturday. I'm doing a free training to help people grow their audience. And then I'll potentially probably do the invitation then, where I'll be opening the doors for it, for the new 2.0 version of like what I learned from everything with this, with getting to work with you amazing people, and just seeing just all the stuff that we got to do together. It's been such a incredible experience, just being in the space with you guys. But what would you say to people, like, even thinking about even coming to the training or just joining the program?
So I can't remember what they call it. It's like open seating at a concert, right? Like, you make sure you're first in line, get there. Like, don't wait. Like, oh, I'll just catch the replay. It's not the same. They're live. It's an amazing thing. Like, get there, bust the door down, be the first in line and get there. Go to the free thing, because you're going to see, like, it's amazing. I've had the amazing privilege of watching Stacey do all kinds of different communities, launch parties, all this kind of stuff. There's something different about the communities that she creates and the communities she helps other people create. It's not this like pissing contest, like most, a lot of things are like that, or it's like this everybody got to be all perfect before they do. This is very real. And then the support that you're getting is absolutely real. And the people that she gathers together in her community, they're seeding your community too and helping you. It's like Stacey has this ability to bring out the very best in people and help them to do that for other people. So you want to be, this is a no-brainer. Mark it, set an alarm, like whatever you got to do to get yourself there, because this is going to be incredible. Once you see how it is, then you make your decision. But my gosh, if you're not at least in the masterclass first, or whatever you're calling, are you calling it a masterclass? It's a masterclass.
Yeah. It's just the one next Saturday is a training, because it's still, I'm still kind of like putting it together. But I'm like, worst case, just the same thing. I'm just asking people what they want to know, and then I'm going to share it, based on the system. So yeah.
I mean, it's just, Stacey makes things so much simpler. I mean, there's not all the, I got to do it perfect. No, it's do it now. It's not the do it sometime.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, I think you're like living proof of like what a collaboration partnership is, right? Like, we met at CapCon, which is part of Ryan Moran's community, Capitalism, and he's somebody that I think exhibits really well, kind of like what I'm kind of teaching people now, because I was called to him specifically from his book, where his book spoke to my soul, and then I signed up for his, that's when I signed up for CapCon. I read the book, and then I went to CapCon. We met. You then, I don't remember how it all worked, but then you're helping me, I'm helping you, and then you join this, and now it's like this constant collaboration that we're just giving back and forth. Like, you're sending people my way, I'm sending people your way, and it's not even about that. It's just about this co-creation of like magnificent ideas and expansion that happens just because we're aligned together, because we're like showing up as ourselves, right?
It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah. And I think like I really want that for people. I want them to understand like how collaborations, like this, and it doesn't start with like trying to sell someone something, or like having that spammy thing, like, do you want in on my thing? It's like sharing who you are, right? Like what you want. And then that's how those people are going to come into your world, because whatever you have, they're going to show up for it.
Exactly. No, it's a fantastic thing. What you've done is like shown people how to find and then give this beautiful thing that's inside of them to the people who need it most. We tend to be very lonely in business and in life, and this is being able to collaborate with people who are like-minded, who see what you're doing and like really see that changes everything. Now it's a pleasure.
Yeah. So what's in store for you? Entrepreneurs Gone Wild, Idle Wild Woods. You've got the email course. Like, what are you excited about right now?
All of the above. Tell me the human exclamation point. I don't think they mean it as a compliment. That I absolutely adore. Like, and when
Wait,
they're
say
all
it again.
together, it's like, this is
Wait,
so.
say what you just said again. It just cut out for a minute.
Oh, which part did I lose you?
Just you were just saying all of it, and then yeah.
Oh, so my kids call me the human exclamation point. So, which it's not meant as a compliment, I don't think, but it's okay. But what I thrive on having things that I'm very excited about doing, and that enthusiasm, that joy that comes from doing something that means something to me and to other people. That's huge. So and these are all tied together. So it's just, this is why I get up every day. It's just very exciting to create all these things and share them with people.
So good. And yeah, I would love you guys to join Sue's community, Entrepreneurs Gone Wild. Do you want to share a little bit about what that will be for them and how?
Definitely.
What's the next question? I don't have another question. That was it.
Ramping up. I'm some amazing other speakers to come in. Like as I meet people, this is the cool thing. So I like had a really quick conversation with Deb Sherman. I'm like, this is awesome. Love you to come in and talk to the group. She's all about it. This is amazing. I would never have met her if I hadn't met you. Like this is so cool. And so I've got, let's see, on Monday, we've got Vicki Pools coming in to do a session on playing, because, oh my gosh, it's so easy to be really serious. I tend to be very serious and I'm doing the thing and I've got my, and remembering to just go have some fun too. And she's a hypnotherapist, so I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be awesome. And then a couple weeks from then, I've got a woman who teaches like feminine energy, masculine energy, and how to work with that. And she's coming in. I'm constantly, as I meet people in the group, I'm like, oh, this seems like something that people would enjoy, So it's like scheduling these out. These are all live events that'll be in there just for members. You got to join Entrepreneurs Gone Wild to be in there. Once we get Wi-Fi, the newsletter comes back online.
Oh no.
Able to interview an entrepreneur, and then like I just get it's almost like a movie of their journey, and then just writing that out, and I put some work with it. And I think you used it at one point, right, for applying for a TED Talk, maybe?
Everything. I use it for it's like my favorite. Like what you did is like my favorite thing, because it helps you see yourself in a new way, the way that you see us. That's like, it's like you're able to put a visual behind it, which is like so cool. Yeah.
And I love doing that. So things in it, the podcast goes, normally it was every week, and the newsletter as well. So I'm looking forward to all that starting back up.
Yeah. I have to you said something earlier and I love this. Pick what's going to work. This kind of came up earlier in another conversation. And I feel like I love what you said. Do you remember saying that? It's so good. Like you have to pick what's going to work, meaning like what feels good for you. We don't have to say yes to everything, right? We have to just say yes to the things that feel good and that feel right. And I think you're a really good example of that. And I love that, like you talk about the being outside part was hard for you. And I think that's why you're able to connect to so many of us that like maybe we're consumed in what we're doing, that we do need to, get outside too.
Definitely.
So, all right. Any parting words for everybody?
If I can shoo you all outside, 2 minutes. Remember grade and your teacher came in and said it's time for recess, and you got to run around and be out there, and it's a lovely thing. It will do you wonders. Even if you hate it at first, just try it for like 5 minutes a day and see what happens in your life. Bonus points if you join Entrepreneurs Gone Wild and post a picture of you being outside doing something you love.
I love that. I love that. So good. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Sue. This has been so fun getting to talk to you. I love being in your world. You've done a lot for me. I mean, you really did, like, still, I mean, constantly. And the way that you're able to, anyway, there's a lot that I'm grateful for you for, which I'll tell you another time privately. But no, it's when you're in a space with someone, and the more you do stuff, the more you realize how much they help you. Is like the thing I think I'm saying is the dots start to connect, and you're like, oh wow, that's why this worked, kind of thing.
Most mutual. I learn from you every time, so it's wonderful.
Oh, Sarah said she's gonna head outside today. Wish she could find a creek. So good. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you, and appreciate you being in this world as well. And do the thing. Don't wait for opportunity. Create it. Bye. Oh, it's end stream. That's